Are you ready, kids?
Aye, aye, Captain.
Oh, let's do some Love2D. Okay, here's what we want to do today. Now, we last left, we had our rectangle rotating. So we have a rotating rectangle, and one of the next things we'll need to do is actually do collision for that rotated rectangle. And we'll either use separating axis theorem, which you can Google, or whatever search engine you use. You can Bing, you can Google, you can Yahoo, whatever. Or we may use the Minkowski difference, and I just noticed I don't have a K here for Minkowski. Minkowski. That's correct. And we'll have to change. Oh, I guess I'm not doing that right now. Okay. Well, something else that we were talking about, and that is there is at least one other component that would be nice to have, or one other module that would be nice to have as a component. And that would be the state machine. But I surmised a couple of episodes ago that you might want more than one state machine. Therefore, this... if you did more than one state machine, then when we put it into an entity, you remember this here, we added that as a field or as a table entry of that type's name as the component, so we could address it or access it nicely. What I want to do is add an additional parameter here. Let's call it name. So this is an additional, so okay, let's do this. Add a component to this entity. Note name is optional, and if it is not used, the component's class type will be used instead. So you see what I'm going to do? It's going to be, so we'll say if name not equal to nil and name.length. Can I do that with Lua? I don't remember. How do you do string length in Lua? It's probably just, I'm going to look that up real quick. Lua string length. The string library. We want to look for length. I shouldn't be doing this off camera, should I? Forgive me. Forgive me. Let's look it up on camera. That way you can be entertained. Entertainment. Lua. String length. Go here. Yeah, I thought it was. Length. It's the length. I thought I saw it. Yeah, len. Okay. So it's len. And it's greater than 0. So if it's that, if there's actually a string in there, then actually let's do another. And type of name equals string. There we go. So if the name isn't nil, the type of name is string, and the name's length is greater than 0, then self name equals component. Then we say else if. And we actually want to say also here if, let's assert that self name equals nil. Otherwise, this entity already contains a component of name. And let's take this and do the same thing here. We'll use component type. And let's see what this shouldn't affect anything at all. Good, and it doesn't. Okay. So that means that we can actually add things, and we can specify the name that we want to be able to call it. So then we could come in here to the state machine, and we should be able to make it into a component. Well, there's really not a whole lot to do as far as making it into a component. It's just we're gonna drag it up here anyway. So we'll call it a component, but you could new it up and update it that way. But let's see, where are we using that? We're using it in Sprite. No, we're using it in Player. So let's go to Player, and let's say component state machine. Strange way to do that, wasn't it? Okay, so where's our state machine? Now we're not going to use there we go, local machine. And let's just come up here like this, and let's say self add machine, and let's call it SM. So we'll add our state machine like that. So then we can just say self.sm. Or we could actually use let's just use a local. Let's use a local and call it machine. It's like we're doing right here. So we won't have to do this. We'll just let it call itself state machine because we're only adding one machine. And here, and we'll just say instead of this, grab them all, and we'll just have machine there. And that way, it just kind of cleans things up a little bit. And let's see, where was that it said state machine's not found? State machine, lib. Where was it? Let's do a search for state machine. It's missile. Okay. That's all. Okay. We need to do the missile too. Apparently there's a that's there doesn't really need to be a state machine in missile. I don't think there's a state machine here. That's just some leftover stuff from Player when we copied it over. There we go. Okay. Oh, and the other thing, the Player. We don't have to do this anymore because that's done in the super. In the super! Very good. And we can jump. We can punch. Okay, good. One other thing I was thinking about, or I didn't think about until just a few moments ago, that is, we probably want to be able to do a scale in our transform. I think we should just add that here. So an SX and an SY. And that way we can keep up with the scale here instead of in the sprite itself. So if we wanted to scale, say a bounding box or something like that, we can do it from here. And that's another thing that we'll probably end up doing is we'll probably end up taking the bounding box stuff or the collision things and making it into a component as well. So I'm going to go ahead and delete that too. That will change sprite because instead of this, we will not have scale. So we need to do scale. Let's do this. Instead of this, we're really looking for the transform. Just shorten that. So we're in Sprite right now. I'm just making a few changes. So that'll be t.x. Little refactoring, some refactoring, if you will. T.x, t.y. Same for here. T.x, t.y. And let's do the same thing here. So we'll grab this e.transform. We'll go bloop, 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 and we'll just do that t there. And then the angle here is going to be t.angle. Makes more sense. It just makes more sense that way. There we are. So we really don't need that extra local. Let's remove that too. Run it just to make sure it still works. Of course it doesn't because we don't have scale yet. That's right. So, matter of fact, I can't believe it. Let's do what we did for the player. Remember, we had a local transform that we made for the player, and we just used that. So let's do that. And so on start, we'll grab, well, let's define it first, right? Transform. We'll say transform equals entity.transform. There we go. So now we have a transform. We don't have to do all this crazy stuff. And of course that invalidates what I just did, which is fantastic. Fantastic. It's great. It's wonderful. T. And then we'll say transform dot. And so then we can get rid of a dece. We can get rid of that too. Okay. And then e.transform is just going to be transform. Oh, we're doing a good job here. We're doing a really good job. And then we're going to say here, transform .sx. That is going to be transform .sy. And there's probably another, yeah, there is. Self.scale. Oh, wait a minute. What was that? What did I just change? Yeah, self.scale. All right, let's just do this. Grab all these. Grab them all. And we'll say transform.sx. And then we'll do the same here. Grab them all. Transform.sy. Attempt to index up value transform. Of course it's an attempt. There's no attempt required. We have it up here. This may not be, let's see if this is being called. That's something that we didn't check. Hello. Hi. I'll bring the debug window over here. Oh. Sprite Lua 86. So we're over here in 86 here. Wait, so we're 86, test 34. Test 34. It should be fine, though. We should have already gotten our... Maybe we didn't get... All right, so we may have an issue here with our entity object. When we add a component, if it has started, so it hasn't been started, then we say update. If component enabled, then if not component started equals true. If component on start, then component on start. we have one of those functions in Sprite. We have start, right? Same thing, right? Yeah, same thing. So we should be hitting that. Let's run that again. Still giving us the same thing, I know. Oh, it may be that test. We probably should go. Not really an up. I see where there's sort of an issue here. Let's go back to Entity Manager. So we've got on enter, on exit. See, though we should have already called in test, we do this. And our sprite should be initialized. We should see when our Entity Manager here, let's do this. Enabled, and then we'll say let's say start. Maybe I've got an issue here. Let's look at the Entity Manager's update. Or I'm sorry. Let's look at Scene Manager, and then we'll look at his update. He has an Entity Manager, though, doesn't he? No. Each scene has an Entity Manager. And you're getting that here. And then, let's see, this scene, self.super. Let's see. Oh, let's see. Let's print this. Print Joe. See if we get Joe. We get Joe. So self.em, there's our Entity Manager update. So we should be in our Entity Manager here. We have an entity. We have an entity on start. So we really don't want to do that. We just want to update. That's the problem. I think that's the issue. So if we take this out, like so, then we can say, hold on. Let's check and make sure that I haven't screwed something up here. If I take that out, let's make sure that on start, yeah, that one's fine. Yeah, okay. So that we don't really care anymore because we actually have real entities and the entity manages all of that stuff. Whether or not a component in it has been, the start has been called. So at least for now, we'll take that out, and we don't need that. I'm going to run that. And we're getting Joel, but we're not getting, okay, where? I need to close some of these things. Go self.entity manager update. So here. And we'll probably change that to, because we're updating them in the opposite order. We don't really need to do that anymore, I don't think. Let's first figure this out, what's going on here. Let me print something here. We'll print JK. Just kidding. And we get JK. Let's see if we're updating the entity. Up JK. We are doing the entity update, which is in here. And entity. So let's see if we're getting in here. Oh. What? We aren't getting in here. Let's look at missile.lua. Oh, we're not doing the update here. That's probably the whole problem. We were in player, though. We have the super update, remember? Right here. How did that get... Oh, I remember. I think we did this pretty quickly. That may... Hopefully... Yeah, that fixed our issue. Okay, good. Let me go back through here and remove all my prints here. This is good. See, don't know we're up, JK. We'll have to fix that later. And we don't need the high. And let's go back and where did that error occur now? Right, 31, right here. So let's go back into entity. And we did say component.entity. Oh, self. Now, boom. Oh, we need to fix that too. I thought it was somewhere. We remember we spelled his name wrong. It's Minkowski. Minkowski difference instead of Minowski. Lua 101. Number expected got no value. Now that's strange. Really? What? This is really turning into something wonderful, isn't it? Sprite.lua function draw. Tint color, we haven't messed with it. Oh, yes. Of course. We have removed the scaling from here. So that's why it's fussing at us. We've just got the atlas width, height, and color. So atlas width, height. And there's the scale, which this scale for the missile is fine. And then the player will be, where is player? Here. This will go onto our transform, right? Oh, but it's actually here. It's X, Y, scale X, scale Y, and then angle. Oh my goodness. What have we done? That did not work. So let's look. Oh, yes, 1, not 0. You were probably yelling at me earlier, weren't you? And we're still weird. Weird. X, Y, scale X, scale Y, and angle. X, Y, there it is, that's Y. Those will all be 0, right? Because we said transform, yeah. So please, this works. We're still large. Why are we so big? I don't know why this guy is large like this. Where is player? Something is not right. Let's look. So X, Y, SX, SY. This all looks fine, right? This all looks good. Go into sprite. Oh, look, see, we don't need that. We don't. Here, look, that's what. Oh, that was some stuff that I was messing with. Oh, my fault. Forgive me. You shouldn't see that stuff. I was messing with that earlier. Let's see. Did I get rid of all that stuff? I think. It's still not correct, but that was part of it. Transform SY. Transform as X, transform as Y times flip. Where did we scale it? Right here. It was right here, wasn't it? That's the lovegraphics.draw. Love2D.org. Not ROG. Org. Oh, we're running up on time, people. We gotta hurry up. Let's check love.graphics. Graphics.draw. There's so many parameters that it's hard to remember. Oh. So it's drawable. Oh, actually, we're using the quad one here. And then X, Y. X, Y. Move these out. X, Y. Angle. X scale. Y scale. And then the yeah, see, I thought we were so we don't some other things that are issues here. Dadgummit. All right, so I've got to regroup here. I was doing this. Remember, I offset it and I thought that I had drawn it from the center when I really hadn't drawn it from the center, but we've got that bigger problem, which is the scale is not working. What if I just do that? Well, we got several things we got to fix. Forgive me, people. Why is that going so quickly? Where's the player? What have I done? I modified all sorts of things, and we deleted state machine, we moved state machine. Test.look. Let's look and see what we've done. Okay, that's all good. Test is no problem. So transform, no problem. Will's good. And that should be fine. Sprite. Atlas, width, height, color. Let's go check and make sure that we have, which we probably haven't. Sprite. We got that one's right, and the player. Oh no, not local. Yeah, that's not gonna work. Sorry, people. That's of course not gonna work. What we want is self.transform. Actually, that makes it a lot less attractive, doesn't it? Let's do tr. Self.tr. So we'll take all of the transforms dot and we'll replace them with self.tr. Yeah, that's the problem. That missile was huge. And I messed that up. So we need to do self.tr .tr dot. Let's say W plus or W plus, and then we should be able to do /1. Is that right? Where are we? No, it's not that. Undo that. It's that way? Nope. I'm trying to remember the back reference for this thing. I thought it was like that. Oh well, let's just undo it. And we'll just do it like this. Transform dot self.tr dot, and then that'll change it back. Silly, 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 silly. Boy, I really messed this up. We've really messed this up here. 76 self.tr dot x self.tr dot y. What's wrong with that? tr. We have a tr. We have a self.tr right here. Are we not calling this correctly? Let's go look at the entity real quick. And no, it's calling it correctly. Boy, this episode is crummy, right? Pretty crummy. We're getting that called. It's getting called. I can show you that. See? 77. Why it's that there's nothing wrong with that. We can do this. And probably something else will go right. Nope, there you go. So these are working. Let me do that again. Yeah, that's correct. We don't need this anymore. Like I said, remember I screwed that up. Totally messed it up. Because the way we're drawing it, we're actually drawing it correctly there. See, he's working correctly. And we don't see, what did we do here? How did I And yeah, so this set of stuff right here. I'm doing the polygon. I know we haven't fixed the other problem, but we'll get to it. We'll get to it. We're working there. We're getting there. So we'll do this. And that should get our, yeah. Okay, so we're back to where we should be. That's exactly how that's supposed to work. Sorry about that. I screwed a bunch of things up, didn't I? This is confusing to me though. Let's see where this happens. Yes, it happens in missile. That's apparently where it's failing. But it should already have called. Okay. Here's what's going on. When we call this function in missile, this here, it's not self center, because that's been as we've seen, that's already been set up. Missile started. But the player hasn't had on start called. So we need to modify entity. And let's call a function called function e start end. And let's just grab all of this stuff right here. Then call on start it as one. We'll probably need to revisit some of this stuff because, yeah, we'll probably need to revisit some of this stuff. And that's all we want to do here. Basically, any of the components that haven't been started, if we have already been started and you know what I want to do? I'm going to do this. And I want to go back to our entity manager. We had this. Let's see. Can I move this back over? Do this. Oops. Like that. And let's actually have something on our entity that says whether or not it's been started. So now our entity itself can also tell if it's been started. And, whoops, let's go back. Entity manager. I think this will work. We probably want to change all of this around. Ugh. But let's go ahead and keep this on start so that when the entities on start method is called, we get this. And then what we can say here if self.started, then we want to let's say and not component.started and component.enabled, then if component dot, well, let's just grab this. This is what I want to do. So if this entity has already been started, then as soon as we as soon as we add a component, we need to call its start method if it hasn't been started already. And that will take care of our issues there. So we fixed a bunch of stupid stuff. Hopefully, you know, I'm sure I've cut some of this video, but hopefully I got all of the changes that I performed there. One of the ones that we did, hopefully I kept, is I had messed up again, messed up the center point of our sprite, which it was indeed being drawn in the center because we got these offset X and Y. So I had to change all that kind of stuff, and so you can note that all that here. But that's working now. So basically, when we start a component, the first time it's started, we call this onStart method, and then that goes through all of its existing components and then calls onStart on them, so that everything's initialized and we don't have this weird thing where we're looking for something from another component and that component hasn't been initialized whenever we start doing updates and stuff like that. So that's great, I believe. Make sure that's still, yeah, we're still jumping and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, great. So I think I'm going to leave it here. We've done a lot of stuff, a lot of refactorings. You can see we've got a bunch of differences here. We moved the state machine, we componentized it, had some changes in the missile since we changed our sprite because we added stuff to our transform, mainly the scale. Yeah, and we had to do some changes to sprite, and of course we got this guy's name right, Minkowski instead of Minowski, and we added some stuff, some additional logic to our entity so that we can make a name for it if we want to, and if we don't want to use the type as the name of our field. And we added an onStart for each entity that gets called, and that basically goes through all the components that currently exist in that entity and calls onStart on them, and actually also says that they have been started. So we've done all this good work, and I'm sorry about the large amount of, I don't know, dead space, I guess. Hopefully I'll cut most of that out. Until then, we'll see you next time.